יודע שאני אמצא, אני שנמצא כאן עכשיו זה נס.
About 18 years ago, a call comes into the Beis Chabad, and the lady says to the secretary, we have a group of Catholic children who need to receive ecumenical instruction, which means they need to have broad religious instruction. That's part of the World Religions program. And the synagogue that we usually go to is not available. Will you guys host us? So my secretary thinks, Catholic children are valued. But says to me, listen, this group of Catholic kids wants to come. After the Rebbe month of Shabbat Mishra. Das ist das Scheine. Als Goyim sollen kommen. The Rebbe month Shabbat Mishra in there. The Rebbe month us. Good. This group of Catholic, with 50 or 60 Catholic kids, 11th grade. And we had a really good time. I spoke about Shabbat Mitzvahs. I went over all the Shabbat Mitzvahs to them. And she came afterwards to my office and she said to my secretary, you know, the priests are these old, crotchety, angry guys. The rabbi was fun. And the kids really liked it. Could they come back again? No problem. For them, we run a Bewegung across York region. It sounds like 18, 17, 18 Catholic schools. All the Catholic schools now come to Chabad. They canceled all the Reform and Conservative. They all come to Chabad from ago. And I do a dog and pony show for the Shabbat Mitzvahs. I'm telling you, I speak to like 5,000-6,000 kids a year like this. So one time, years ago, a group of Catholic kids comes. And that time our nursery was in its heyday. And my wife says, there's some strange guy walking in the hallways of the nursery. And I'm on the way up, made photocopies. I heard that there was a Yitzi Weinberg that some old geschrieben gegen Shabbat Mitzvahs. But nobody could say what and nobody could say when. So I took this thing, I tried to work with it like, I don't know, emanated from the Rebbe. Like it's Sheva mitzvahs. I have a paper I give out. I'm running upstairs and I says, I have a situation, security. So I go over, I see this guy, he's walking around and feel the egg in the walls. I say, excuse me, sir, can I help you? He says, first time in a synagogue. I said, oh, that's nice. Could I help you? He says, I'm the bus driver. I said, okay. What would you like? I'm very confused. I said, I'm sorry. Can I clear your confusion? No, I'm just distraught. I said, okay, well, it's a nursery school. It's really appreciative if you stay in the outer areas, but really you can go upstairs to the sanctuary. I'm speaking for children. You're welcome to come inside. Okay, fine. At some point, he moseys into the back, and he's standing in the back and listening. And then they, went through the idea of marriage and Gila Royas, and started asking about the gay marriage and all that garbage and on. And I told him straight the way it is. This is what Torah says. We don't judge anybody. We don't hate anybody. But there's a moral code. You can live a sacred life, or you can live a kind of mundane life. It's your choice. They can do whatever they want. It's a free country. This is what we believe is sacred. This is what God's presence resides. So this guy was bald, and he had an earring. So I already imagined he looked very it's a Shvargishkal Stama, he's already placed with the other team, he's like and he looked very agitated. And the kids are filing out, and he comes over to me and he says, I'd like to talk to you. I said, really? What exactly do you want to talk about? In private. Okay. I said, if you must. And I'm a little nervous, I don't know where this is going, So he comes to my office, old guy with the one earring, and it's very weird. He closes the door, there's a long silence. He says, I'm Jewish! I said, I am too. He said, you don't understand, I'm Jewish! I said, okay. And he told me that on my son. So he was raised by, his father was an Anglican minister, and his mother was whatever, the Rebbetzin of an Anglican minister. And he's 19 years old, and he goes up to the attic, he was help his mother cleaning out the attic, and he finds a mud in a box, like a picture box. He opens up the picture box, and there's strange looking people there. People with beards, funny hats. So he goes with his box of pictures down to his mother. He said, who are these weird-looking people? And the mother starts crying. The mother says, that's my father, that's my brothers. She says, we lived in Paris. I never told this to you. But we lived in Paris when the Nazis came. My father was a rabbi. His name was Berkowitz. My maiden name was Berkowitz. And between tears, she tells him, I was deported to I think it was called Ansary, and then from there to Auschwitz. And the British soldier found me when I was almost dead. And this British soldier adopted me. And this British soldier nursed me back to health. This British soldier brought me to England, and that's your father. And he became an Anglican minister because of what he saw in the Holocaust. And I wanted to forget that I was Jewish. I accepted the kindness of your father. I just wanted to forget. I didn't want to ever be a Jew again. But when I went back to Paris, I did find these pictures. I took them with me, and I haven't looked at them in years. He says this happened 30 years ago. He says, I knew I'm Jewish. I understood. I did research. I found out I'm not Jewish. I'm Jewish. And a few times I decided to have the guts to go to synagogue. Every time I go to synagogue, I put my hand on the door. I can't open it. I run away. I'm terrified. He says, today I'm the bus driver. I had no choice. I had to walk and I had to bring the kids into the side. It's my first time in the synagogue. He says, I'm Jewish. I don't know what to do. I'm Jewish. I don't know what to do. So I said to him, did you ever hear of a bar mitzvah? So he said to me, no, what's a bar mitzvah? You know, nothing. He just knew that he's Jewish. So I explained to him that it's the age of majority, age of responsibility, and I said there's one mitzvah that we don't do as children that we start to do only when we're mature because we have a presence of mind, and that's the mitzvah of tefillin. I explained to what tefillin is a little bit. I said it would mean a lot to me if you would put on tefillin today. So he said to me, okay, if it means a lot to you, I'll put it. And he put on tefillin. And here's a Yid, Nebach Mamash. This is the tifste golus, right? A Yid does not know he's a Yid. he had to be in his 50s already. He didn't find that he was a Jew until he was in his 30s. And for 20 years, 30 years, whatever it was, like he can't bring himself to come. They laid to him, and the guy bursts out crying like a faucet. He's just standing there, and he can't stop crying. He's crying his eyes out. And then he looks up at me and says, okay. Like I'm done. Okay. So I take up the tefillin, and he says, thank you very much, and he runs out of notes. So I told you, I should have found out right away what his name is. I thought they would call me. A few months go by and waiting for him to call me, he never called me. And I called the bus company, and they said there was a changeover, and they said, I never found this guy. But who knows?
So these are Tomim Doyer gets on the
It's And the Kude is, as the Rebbe, to sie geben die Keach, mag Megala sein, die Yichidische Neshama von Yedid. And a Mansbul is a Megala Yichidische Neshama durch Hanachas Tefillin. It's interesting that one of the Yud Beis Mivtzoyim, one of the Asaros HaMivtzoyim, even though there are those who claim it's Yud Beis, but Asaros HaMivtzoyim, the Rebbe never made Milah, and Milah are made in the Kingdom, Bris Avram is a Gewalt gesagt, but the Rebbe gemacht Mivtzoy Tefillin. Unser Indien is Leben Tefillin mit Yedid, and we can't wissen, it's possibly impossible to know how you touch a Yid's Neshama, you Megala Yid's Neshama, so them is Leben Tefillin. The Rebbe hat einmal gesagt, was, when he was attacked from all sides by Mitzvah Tefillin, the Rebbe said on tape, was arte zei as mem schneersen. The Rebbe is Pedish B'Shmei. The Rebbe said his name, as mem schneersen, and it included my mitzvah. It says from all the mitzvahs that the Rebbe had, the one mitzvah that the Rebbe gesagt B'Shmei, as mem schneersen, Pedish B'Shmei. The Rebbe is Pedish B'Shmei. So it was mem schneersen. Hat Beichig and hat included my mitzvah, and this mitzvah of Tefillin. Door the mitzvah of Tefillin, came in Pasha, Mishana Zay Illumis. There's like amazing stories of things the Rebbe said. There's a guy, Rader, Senior Rader, famously now told a story. In fact, the Rebbe gesagt, as a da Yid in Miami, was it then as a Yid like Tefillin and Yisrael, but them is that I got the shit. Later, the guys in Miami, when they treft a Yidden, and the Yidden sagt, as a gesehen, wie a Chayal like Tefillin, you do it at Ariel Sharon, when he came to Kaisel the first time, he brought Tefillin. He liked Tefillin. Ariel Sharon said, Kefer Mamash and alle Sachen, but the Rebbe was Mekarim. So they said to him, and he gewinnt noch. Tefillin gewinnt. Hat gefragt, my height, wie kommt es, als Israel, der große Held von the big warrior, Ariel Sharon, that's an onion. Huh? It's called a bulldozer. How can it be? He cries and he puts in film. Tadik Sharon gesagt, dass als bei Adim Amin, שאצל כל אחד יש דעתי. בתוך כל אחד יש דעתי. Inside everyone is daf safrumarit. He says, my dati doesn't know how to express itself. In Tefillin, I was able to find a way to express myself. Das was meint der Meister in andere Werte. Als a Yid betzer bei dir. Als a Yidden betten sagt, haben so mit dem Legen Tefillin. Als a Yid bet sagt, als Beteiche ist da a Yehudi dati. Als Beteiche gefindt sich a Frumerit. Und Beteiche gefindt sich a Yid, dass sucht, dass will Legen Tefillin. Will sich always sagen, he has to express himself. Und Sachakel, the Rebbe was Mezakas, that we have the Cheles, to push and touch. Allah from Yisrael. Nobody knows, but one time in Achas Tefillin. I have a lot of derech for Tefillin stands, but I'm telling you that I found out that it's not necessary. It's not, you don't need a Tefillin stand. You need your pocket. Today people go and do business, they don't have an office, they have an iPhone. They don't have an office. They mentioned iPhone. They don't have an office, they don't have a computer. They answer everything on an iPhone today. Everything is in your pocket. Today you don't need the newspaper. Today it's social media. Today everything is in your hands. Today, I have a game with film. Today you can get a pair of film. The kind of film that they had in Auschwitz, those tiny film, the beautiful Hudadikit film, Ksav Arizal, not Dakis, Gasses, strong, good film, because Einstein, Posh, Kesh. I didn't say you should wear those film. Aber jeder chassid, davon war kleine part film. Jeder chassid, was heißt das, ich finde sich in der Art? What will you do if you meet that one time in your life? There'll be a Yid who says, Yesh chat tefillin, you want to have film? It's a disaster. Like, how will you ever face the devil? I want to tell you something. It is the key to this, that you have to make yourself a k'ziyas to write a duch to the devil. Und be'etzem, darf man schreiben a duch zum Rebbe jeder Tag. Zu jeder zwei Tage. Der Rebbe hat gemeint bei Geshe Mendel, der Rebbe gesagt, Geshe Mendel, also will so schreiben a duch jeder Tag. Und der Rebbe gebet bei Nachman Sudak, wir schreiben a duch jeder Tag. Nachman Sudak told the Rebbe that it's too hard to write a duch every day. So the Rebbe said, send me your daytime. Pasha clear out the pages of your appointments. The Rebbe said, send me a daytimer, and I want to see what you do every day. When you know you have to write a duch to the Rebbe every day, what are you're gonna come the end of a day, you didn't put on film with a yid today. How could you write a duch to the Rebbe? You push it, you start getting really nervous. You're like looking for that Jew. You shouldn't have a busha today. At the schreibst that duch on some Rebbe. A yid darf schreiben, wenn steht duch. A chassid darf schreiben, gelernt chassidus fahren David. It's a nicht gelernt chassidus fahren David. If you're writing a duch to the Rebbe, you won't have a choice if you're learning chassidus for David. If you daven with a minion, you have to write it to the Rebbe. You have no choice. It's to do it. That's what you do. So if you're writing to the Rebbe what you did, you have to write to the Rebbe what time you got up in the morning. How could you chirap? You have to write to the Rebbe what time you get up. You have to write to the Rebbe if you got learn chassidus davening. You didn't learn chassidus davening. You learn Rambam and Chitas. You didn't learn Rambam and Chitas. It's not a game. When did you learn Rambam and Chitas? When did you finish a Chitas? When do you learn Rambam? When do you do these things? Are you the time a kushas to Rebbe? Nobody's going to be a mishaker. So it's not shaykh otherwise. And I'm telling you from experience, when you know you have to write a duch to the Rebbe, a day goes by, you didn't put on film with a yid, it's the lot tov. I'll be honest with you. You know why I took it? You know why I decided at the end to take the tefillin? Because I pushed it, didn't put on tefillin with anybody today. I didn't have a chance to put on tefillin with anybody today. And I pushed it, I couldn't face myself. Listen, I gave the duch a tug. I was hoping, I was praying I'm going to meet somebody on the way. I spent a half hour talking to this putz on the plane about Sheva Mitzvahs. I thought he was Jewish. I talk him up, I hug him, I find out a freaking guy. Good, the Sheva Mitzvahs, I got that still, I think, till marriage. Then he said, I want to watch the movie, leave me alone. Okay, fine. Okay, I did my best, I tried. You have a duch to the Rebbe, you have no choice. What do you mean? You went somewhere, you went shopping, you put on film with the Yid, you didn't put on with the Yid. At least you took it film with you, you didn't take it film with you. And the emes is, das ist mechayev. Wenn man schreibt that duch zum Rebbe, das ist mechayev. Das ist, man sagt, was yatev b'chayui. I don't know what yatev b'chayui means. I know one thing. That it used to be that we were very worried about a duch, that it should be legible, and it should be big letters, and it should be written in the easiest way possible. Zol nicht nehmen, chas v'shon von dem Rebbe's site. The Rebbe will a duch, that verschreiben a duch, bei even achi kotzer. In Dr. Cohen over here, the typist, he typed up my duch from Merkerschluchas. And we sent it, achi kotzer, achi gring van Rebbe, as Rebbe look at, today there's no agbolas, heint the stock in heint das Yata b'chayui, can alts reinschreiben zum Rebbe. Alts davon reinschreiben zum Rebbe. You know, there was a time, I thought maybe I'm a Meshuggah. Meshuggah was a schreibt zum Rebbe, da was Sachen. Punkt Shabbos comes a Yid, his name is Shaul Leiter. Shaul Leiter is a holy Jew.
Vermeer Leiter's son.
Yeah, Vermeer Leiter's son. His father.
Brother.
Father. Anyway, he comes every year to my Beis Chabad, makes me crazy, raises money for me. I'm like, Shaul, leave me alone. I'm not raising money for you. Leave me alone. Every year, he doesn't give up, this guy. And he shows up and says, okay, we got letting me speak about a kiddush. Shaul, speak, do whatever you want, I don't care. And then, he speaks and he makes stuff like a Kabbalist, I do whatever you want, I don't care. And then he says after, I just want to tell you one thing, and I'm pushing to stop it. Should I write a duch? Shouldn't I write a duch? Maybe it's pasha, maybe it's not the cheretz, it's wrong. Like, he said, I just want to tell you one thing. I'm like, okay, tell me one thing and bug off already. What do you want? He said, I want to tell you one thing. One thing I want to tell you. What? He says, there was once a guy who has been stopping if he should write a duch to the Rebbe. I'm like, unbelievable. I'm like, I can't believe this guy. There's once a guy who's been stopping if he should write a duch to the Rebbe. And the Rebbe answered, if he has to write a duch every day, L'cholapachis trachte jeder Tag, sie erkennen schreiben mal durch. Shol, I love you. Shol, Shol, thank you. You delivered the message. Mr. The Rebbe has his way of communicating. There was once a situation where a guy in my community is that he wants to bake matzah. First he wanted to come to Montreal to the matzah bakery, and that wasn't working. Then he calls me, he says, okay, there's JetBlue tickets, one buy one, get one free. Let's go to New York tomorrow to the matzah bakery. It's very to Schwarz in the Egen. I need a matzah bakery, like 6 holes in my head. The guy wants to go to a matzah bakery. I said, okay, no problem, fine, we're going to a matzah bakery. So I came home that night. I finished the shir, it was like 11 o'clock at night. I finished Rambam and I have to go on the computer, and I fell asleep before I clicked. So I slept at the computer, and I only realized the next day when I came there, I didn't have a ticket because I never clicked. I don't tell them like a fool. I just throw my credit card and finished. Okay, I lost $300 now. I fly with him to New York, and I remember that it was a Wednesday. I think it was Parshas B'Shalach. The Shita. The Shita is the V of Parshas B'Shalach. Yeah, any Bali Kriya over here? Huh? As I cooked this face. As chitas from I'm busy, and I didn't have a second. I slept 3 hours. I woke up 5 o'clock in the morning. We drove to Buffalo. I was with this guy at Balabas all the time. Take him here, and then a cat ran into the matzah bakery. How can it be a kosher matzah bakery if a cat runs in? I told him his name is Shmura, and he's part of the thing, and he eats the mice. You know, you have to be like a whole time, like on your toes. And I don't get back home. It's like midnight by the time I get back home. And I didn't learn chitas that day. And I just have no credit. It's like the shita, you know, it's like hard stuff. I'm like, I can't have to be up for a shir 6:30. I have to get 5. I can't. I just collapse. Fine. And my mazel the next day is a bar mitzvah shul. And a guy who never comes to his son's bar mitzvah, and he has with him on the snagid. He's not really a misnagid, but he is a misnagid, a mixed up guy. And he shows up, this famous lawyer. He shows up and I finish my shir. We go down to the main sanctuary, and he says to me, "Your luchas are architecturally wrong." The luchas are square. Tablets are architecturally wrong. So I am the biggest architectural lawyer in the entire country of Canada, and your tablets are wrong. Ich will ihm sagen, kuschen toches on steroids. Or to have to be polite, I say that's what the Gemara says in Ksubas, you know, like that was square. He said, I don't care what the Gemara says, it's architecturally wrong. Your ark should have round luchas. So I don't have a self mishul tefach with you. I'm telling you what the Torah says, you're telling me about architecture. I'm telling you what the Torah says. No, synagogue is architecturally correct. Okay, fine. I have 2 days not sleeping, and I'm like frustrated. And this guy's like, he's dancing on my nerves, right? Then I throw off my hat and I put it down on the stage in the front. So he comes over to me, excuse me, a hat is a keser. A keser does not belong on the floor. Like, are you retarded? A hat is a borsalino. And then I couldn't give a hoot when I put a hat. Like, no, he says, it's wrong. It's very least in the minute. I'm not going to show it. Take with the other. The guy's not normal, you know? Whole davening and mujit me. Whatever I do wrong, I missed the V and the kriya. I don't know what the guy wants in my life. And then we come up after a whole davening. And I was by the oil that day, right? I took these people to the oil first, went to the oil, and then went to the matzah bakery. 70 or something. 70 went back to the airport. So he comes up to me. He knew Yosef Weinberg because he was once in my Vancouver. He knew Yosef Weinberg. He had some maga mass with Yosef Weinberg. So he says to me, we come up to breakfast after the thing. He says to me, "You know what Rabbi Weinberg told me?" I'm like, at this point, I want to punch this guy's lights out. I do not know. What did Rabbi Weinberg tell me? He said, Rabbi Weinberg told me that if you want to have a hatzlacha de kedei, you have to learn chitas before you do anything in the day. I'm like, give Magris a kush. I said, Stephen, you are the Rebbe Shliach today. Take the day off. I said, hi, Mr. Rebbe Shliach. I got it. I got the message. Okay, I got it. He says, what are you talking about? I said, doesn't matter. I needed to hear this. You brought me the message. I got it. Okay. I believe that. Like from then, it's 10, 12 years ago. I try not to start my day. The chitas when I'm finishing is not, you can't. I'm worried what's enough. I'm already worried now about Friday. Because it's like the techacha. It's like you have to, all those lashons, you have to learn it. I'm already planning what I'm going to do on Friday. But mit darf lernen, mit darf sein zugebunden zum Rebbe. And if you're not zugebunden zum Rebbe, you have to do the Rebbe's takanos. As the Rebbe month, you should put film with another yid. The Rebbe expects each and every one of us to learn Chitas and Rambam. V'yesh leima, the Rambam is even more nigeir. The Rebbe is in your mamash. I once heard a story many years ago when I was a bacher. It's a Montreal story. That Zusha Zirkin, who was learning in yeshiva, got a cholim as the Rebbe to give him a patch. So when he was by Yechidus by the Rebbe, for his Yemaledes, but the gesagt dem Rebbe, he said, got a cholim as the Rebbe to give him a patch. Zusha, no,
You mean Simcha
passed
Zirkin?
away in a car accident. The back of Gan Yisrael, Mont`real, the Laurentians, the back, this medrash was a big Yusha or something. Used to be, took it out. So the Rebbe had gesagt, and listen, this is what I heard from Mipi, Zalman Daichal V'Shalom, but who tiny as you heard it by Ben Shaita as a bacher in Montreal. But the Rebbe gesagt, as ich bin nicht Sheiches zu dem, und wir staan to angelehrt in der Takanis Montreal. I'm not Shaykh to give a patch. The Rebbe didn't dismiss it. Bacher got a close. The Rebbe didn't dismiss it. The Chagav, so da mein Friedrich Rebbe in Tafshin Gimel, in the Hemshech of Tafshin Gimel, the Friedrich Rebbe says like this, that Zevi Neshamas are also in Ateda Aveda Gemilas Chasodim Ba'alma Hadein, is that Zei Eich Neshamas HaTzadikim are also in Teda Aveda Gemilas Chasodim Ba'alma Dikshet. The Rebbe fragt dort, wie Zei Shaykh Diyim from Gemilas Chasodim and Alma Dikshet, and the Friedrich Rebbe writes, Zeu, quote, Zeu mashemarim es atzmam letalmideihem b'chaloim. Zeh sagt der Friedrich Rebbe. Zeu mashemarim es atzmam letalmideihem b'chaloim as ma'at ha'cholom from the Rebbe. It's not a Friedrich Rebbe. Friedrich Rebbe writes this in the Hemshech HaMarim. There's a mimer from the Rebbe in Tov, uses this kistel of Tovshin of Ches, of Zayin, of Ches. The Rebbe stellt sich auf a mimer Hemshech of the Rebbe Rashab from Eter. Moededike bier, was meint a cholom? What's based on the Alter Rebbe says that a cholom, the Zach was in Maimonim Aksarim, the Alter Rebbe says, we can't pretend this is a cholom. And the Rebbe Rashab is Masber, that's like, al derech the computers, you just have to defrag. Yeah, the mind generates many commands, and it's like al derech your brain going to the washroom. You have to empty out the stuff. So you empty out the stuff that gets stuck over there. But the Rebbe Rashab says over there, explains the Ino cholom, the Rebbe is Meidich in the Maimer, he just kisses over there. That there's an Inyan that's L'mailum is also. That's why it says in the Gemara that first Shlish Alayla, the Cholim is nothing. But in the morning, the Shas, the cup is Shlish, the cup is Chashon Vizgeledik, that's when a Cholim means something. That's when, I was once with Yankel Katz, Yankel Katz, the gesagt, dass als Chassidim am Gata Cholim von dem Rebben, haben sie gemacht a Yom Tov den nächsten Tag. Das hat mir Yankel Katz gesagt. That's he grew up, Upon him, das heißt, Arnir Natakona, it's not a simple thing. Medav sein zugebunden zu dem Rebbe. So in the Shas HaPnuyes, a Yid darf gehen mit Film. But Zeit zu Bachrim, in Zeit zu Ingeleit darf wissen, als der Shiurim von Rambam und Chitas darf abhitten, bezeu, beba, it's a very, very, very serious thing. Rambam and Chitas is absolutely not negotiable. Nothing to talk about. Is Mizak, even though he never admitted it publicly, that Shlomo Kunin wrote to the Rebbe at the time when the Rebbe came out with Gimel Prakim that Kenish learn Drei Prakim. So the Rebbe answered, Kumahei, Korahei. Was er schlicht ist? Mizak Drei Prakim. Wer soll lernen Drei Prakim? Also war Schliach lernt nicht Drei Prakim, aber als Rosh Hashiva oder Mashpia lernt nicht, als Bacher Tenchatumim, so who should learn 3 Prakim Rambam? Who did the Rebbe mean? What Yechid Skula, what the Akrelinger man? Who did the Rebbe mean? The Rebbe had gemeint, Pasha Kipshutev is to learn 3 Prakim Rambam. And it's known that in the Hayem Yem, the B'shas they wrote, Yishtad Lilma Gimel Prakim, the Rebbe crossed out the word, B'yad HaKadesha, crossed out the word Yishtad. Crossed out Yishtad. Lilma Gimel Prakim Rambam. A chassid of learning 3 Prakim Rambam, if that's the only thing he does all day, and of learning 3 Prakim Rambam yeder tag. When a chassid of learning Chitas, when of learning Chitas tal Rashis, or learning the Rashis, not to say Rashi, and not to say, there's no sayings. Tilim Zakman. Chumash darf man lernen. Behind is the Kamba become a Svarim, is helping their Talin Yonim. Rambam and Chitas darf man abhitten. Und der Rebbe's Befzoim darf man abhitten. The bottom line is, the Rebbe darf haben deine Mivtzoyim. The Rebbe gives you an opportunity